Hey folks, thank you very much again. Welcome back to another video. Hope you enjoy my review of the Marvels, starring Brie Larson, still with the Captain Marvel. That's on the channel right now. And Justice League, Art Ruby, Superhero National Part 2, and Blue Beetle. Yeah, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Mayhem. That's on my channel right now if you guys will check it out. So you guys remember my channel's name is Levi McNally 983. Levi McNally 983. With the match profile picture. This channel. Now I do have another YouTube channel, but I lost the account to it. So this is my new channel. Or when you say backup channel, but technically new channel. And what I've been doing, guys, for reviews you've been watching, I've been doing 2020's era. Thank you for the 335 subs, guys. I appreciate it. Let me catch you up to speed here. I've been doing a superhero marathon on my YouTube channel, doing superhero films, talking about superhero TV shows, but on my other channel as well. And I'm gonna talk about more superhero shows and stuff, like with DC and Marvel. But I'm on movies right now. I'm on the what I call the 2020 era superhero reviews. Now these superhero films they came out 2020 to 2025, the year we're living in now. And this is a sequel, that came out in 2023. I saw this film with my mom uh, back when I lived in Georgia in December. Really nice movie theater too. You know, it was nice, but the theater is really cool, so it was a good experience. This is a sequel to the Aquaman first film, 2018. That again starred Jason Momoa. Yeah, and that movie made $1 billion worldwide. So with that, of course, you get a sequel, and it is the 15th and final film of the DC Extended Universe, and that is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which I do enjoy. At first, I just thought the sequel was okay when I saw it, but rewatching it, I do like it. It is a solid sequel, but I would say the first one is better in my opinion. You know, I do enjoy the first movie a lot. I do have some problems with including You Know Who, which Wonder Woman is in this movie. And I'm not talking about Nicole Kidman here, but really good film, really solid sequel. I enjoyed it for what it was. This is the film on Blu-ray. It's really nice on Blu-ray too. You got some special features like Finding Lost Kingdom, Aquaman World, Worlds above and below. Atlantean blood is thicker than water. It's a mantle world. Nergareth, the lost Black City, escaping the zero world. Rolling, rolling at a kingfish layer. Oh, Topo. Yeah. There's some special features there with the Blu-ray. And this is the film on Blu-ray. I got the first one on Blu-ray plus DVD. Yeah. Solid sequel, but I do have some issues with it, which I'll get to later in this review. Let's just talk about the movie itself and the production, how it came to be. James Wan returned to direct this movie. He directed the first one. During the production of the first film, star Jason Momoa developed a story pitch for a sequel that he gave to Warner Brothers Pictures Group Chairman Tommy Ermage and producer Peter Safran. On October 20, I think he also produces this movie, Jason Momoa does. In October 2018, before the film's release, Momoa said he would be more involved in the development of a potential sequel instead of filming to begin in 2019. Director James Wan says several storylines could spin out from Aquaman, with that film introducing 7 underwater kingdoms that yet to be fully explored. Momoa and his producing partner Brian Mendoza wrote a 50-page treatment for the sequel, which Warner Brothers brought did not entirely follow. The actor was paid $15 million for his involvement. The merger had enough confidence in the box office predictions for the film by early December to begin discussing a sequel. By the end of January 2019, when Aquaman was set to become the highest-grossing film based on a single DC Comics character, Warner Brothers was in negotiations with Wan to oversee the development, writing of a sequel with a potential return as director. GOF Butcher of Deadline Hollywood knows that Wan had been very protective of sequels to films like Insidious and The Conjuring, deeply invested in the world building of Aquaman. Wan had previously compared the world of Aquaman to other fictional worlds like such as Middle Earth, Star Wars Galaxy, Wizarding World. In early February 2019, Warner Bros. Hired Noah Gardner and Adrian Fitzgerald to write the script for the movie Horror String, Aquaman's spin-off film The Trench, based on one of the film kingdoms introduced in the first film. It's better to have a smaller budget and not feature the main cast of Aquaman, with Wan and Saban producing. Hollywood reported then that there had not been serious discussions about a direct sequel to Aquaman between the studio, Wan and Momoa, due to them wanting to have a breather first. But several days later, he reported the active development of a sequel being underway, with the film's co-script writer and one collaborator, David Leslie Johnson, Modric, that's a long name, signed on to write the screenplay. Juan and Saban produced the sequel. However, it was still unclear if Juan would direct the film. At the end of February, scheduled Aquaman for release on December 16th, 2022. Now, this is when COVID happened and stuff, so I guess it got delayed for a while. And they, like I said, took a breather for a while. The next month, Saban explained that he and Juan did not want to rush the sequel. Warner Bros. Have been supportive of that, which is what the film's release was scheduled for 4 years of the first film. Added that they were approaching the sequel, the franchise, The Conjuring universe, with spin-offs like The Trench, telling stories about the underwater kingdoms alongside the Mothership, featuring Aquaman. Saban said knew the architect, the armory, the military, the look, the feel, and the general vibe. Each of the seven kingdoms wanted to explore in all future films. One was to direct the film Maleficent before beginning on Aquaman 2. Patrick Wilson said in November that he had discussed plans for the sequel with Juan, that he would, of course, return as Orm, Ocean Master, for the first film. Y'all, but much to second, I can't say his name right, but he comes back as David Kane, aka Black Manta, in this film. Wanted to flesh out his character more in this sequel. Johnson, we do get more Black Manta in this movie. Yeah. So if you did like the character in the first film, you get more of him here as well. Johnson McGoldrick stated in March 2020 that the sequel would not be based on a specific comic book. It was taking inspiration from the Aquaman stories of the Silver Age comic books that feature Black Manta as the villain. One was confirmed to be a regular sequel at the virtual DC event in August. Wilson was also confirmed to return, feature themes that were more relevant to the real world, such as climate change. Said the creators was not afraid to address this a big way through the film. Aquaman character's conscious in the comic books and fights to keep the ocean clean. The film would remain a fun action fantasy movie. Momo said that a scene was featured in the film which Aquaman addresses the United Nations and climate change. One added that the film would include more world building and exploration of the underwater kingdoms. It features some horror elements similar to the trench sequence in the first film. Being able to expand the world building of the first film was one of the key reasons that one chose to write the sequel. Really cool story. Devin felt, especially the mythic character, and Momoa both believed the film's humor exceeded that of the first one. One said Aquaman was at the center of the film with his charm and humor. The whole Amber Heard casting conversation. Yeah, Amber Heard, who debunked rumors in April 2020 that she would not be returning her role for the first one, which I would say would have fired her, especially after what happened with Johnny Depp. You know, those abuse allegations, yes. To have her fired from the franchise with more than 5.15 million signatures. Yeah, which we should have happened. When the allegations made by the Sun that Depp abused her were ruled to be true, filed against the Sun's owner, several said they were considered making the film without her, would not react to clear fan pressure. Petition and other social media conversations. However, Heard later stated during a second trial, Depp observed that they were brought against her by Depp, that they didn't want to include her in the film, that she had to fight to keep her part. She claimed that revisions were made to the script to reduce her role very far down version, including moving action sequences for her character. She was unable to negotiate her contract. So technically, she probably had to be in this movie. She did sign up for it maybe before ahead of time. I don't know. But they do. Thankfully, she's not in this movie a whole lot. They watered down, excuse the bad pun there, watered down her performance in this movie. DC Films president Walter Hammond testified during Depp and Heard's that studio did consider recasting Mira. This was due to concerns over Heard's lack of chemistry with Mona, rather than the abuse allegations. He said that the studios to hold people over their options. Heard's role had not changed during the sequel development. There was more of a focused buddy relationship kind of film with, of course, with Aquaman and Orm, with Arthur and Orm and their freaking out being brothers and stuff. Very especially that of Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy's characters in the film in 48 hours, like more of a romance action adventure film. Overcoming the differences to save the world. Yeah. But these plans are abandoned due to her ex-boyfriend intervened. Elon Musk. The lack of chemistry never had been disputed. That Heard had performed a chemistry test with Noah on the first film and had been cast over two other extras, including Ava Lee. Heard described her experience with Momo and Juan in the film as hostile, which were refuted by DC spokesperson who called the production positive and collaborative. Jury ultimately found that both Heard and Depp defamed each other, with Heard having defamed Depp on 3 counts. Social media response to the trial heavily favored Depp over Heard, with several millions of videos mocking her testimony, but these were also debunked. Heard only appeared for around 20 minutes in the film, with 2 of her scenes, a fight sequence with Black Manta and a love scene with Mama Pat during production. After Dolph Lundgren betrayed Mary's father, lyricist later said that he and Heard had larger roles in the original cut before they were reduced during reshoots. Lundgren said that he was restoring his role as King Nerys in the sequel, with filming expected to begin later that year. A month later, that plan started to date for filming, which was revealed to be June. Although the film did get somewhat impacted by COVID-19, Richard Stowe was also revealed to be serving as a costume designer after working on Wonder Woman 1984 in 2020. In April, DC announced the development of the trench was no longer moving forward, and only revealed that the title, working title, and a misdirect for a planned Black Manta film. Tamam Morrison confirmed his return as Aquaman's father, Thomas Curry. William Dafoe was also reported to his role as vocal for the first one, but obviously he did not appear due to scheduling conflicts. Filming began on June 28, 2021, using 5 stages in the battle at Warner Bros. Studios, referred to the Lost Water Kingdom of Necros, which is featured in the film. Debuted in the Aquaman comic book as well. One said it was fun designing the Lost Kingdom of Necros, a society with various vehicles and weapons. The one-man operated machines called the Octobots that move in and out of water, which was arms encounters for the kingdom's design. He was part of the Aquaman comics from the Silver Age of the comics in the 1960s. One said the sequel was influenced by the film Planet of the Vampires, which I've never seen. Some of the film was shot like in New Jersey. Warner Brothers adjusted its release schedule in March 2022 due to the impacts of COVID-19. So I guess the film got delayed, of course. And of course, they moved to March 17, 2023, and The Flash was also moved to 2022-2023. Shazam was moved up to the film's previous release date because it will be ready for release earlier. Shazam came out in February. No, I'm sorry. Shazam: Fury of the Gods came out in March, and The Flash came out in June. So, and I'm sure like this movie and those are the 2 movies they were delayed and delayed over again. Yeah. The film got some test screenings that were mixed results. I'm just reading here. And the film did get some reshoots as well. One said he had to make some adjustments during production and to work on visual effects for the film because this film has a lot of the visual effects, especially underwater scenes. Um, some of the visual effects were done by like Synsight, DNG, ILM, Industrial Light Magic. They did special effects for the movie. I did like the soundtrack to the movie. The song does Robert Grayson Williams did a good job with that, I think. Yeah. He also did music scores for well, wait a minute, sorry. Yeah. It does have songs like From Steppenwolf, Born to Be Wild, China Girl, Spirit in the Sky. I don't remember much of the marketing. I just remember the trailers for the movie, teaser trailer, and the official trailer for the film. Yeah. I remember at the movie theater when I went to the movie theater with my mom. They had like a Aquaman kind of drink or something you can have there. Yeah, and I'm sure they had toys out for the movie, the characters and stuff. Warner Brothers was considering ending the Aquaman film series and recasting Jason Momoa as Lobo, which I've heard about. Momoa will be in Jason Momoa will be in the movie Supergirl next year, yeah, as Lobo. Okay. And of course, we got the new Superman film this year that came out in 2025. I'm guessing due to that this film did make money, but I don't think it was a huge hit when it came out. Did not make as much money as the first film. One of the big reasons is keeping Amber Heard in here as well. Yeah, the film did get negative reviews from critics who hated it. I can see why they were maybe mixed on it. And being some reshoots for the film. The film has its problems, but I do like this movie. It's not a great sequel, but again, probably just didn't get any more movies because, again, before this you had Black Adam, the movies I mentioned Shazam, Fear of the Gods, The Flash, and Blue Beetle. And those three movies, well, I'm sorry, four movies all flopped at the box office or considered box office bombs. So, and this movie did make money, but I wouldn't say it was a huge hit. You know, yeah. Anyway, for the cast of the movie, you have Jason Momoa as Arthur Curry, Aquaman. Yeah, I know his first movie I think was Johnson Family Vacation with Cedric the Entertainer. I saw that movie in theaters. The Conan the Barbarian remake. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I like him as Aquaman. Don't get me wrong, and I want to see him as a little bit. He's no Conan the Barbarian. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm sorry, that's Arnold. You know, and I guess Bullet to the Head. He played in that with Stallone, which I've never seen. Played a villain in that, I guess. And of course, had cameos as Arthur, in Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. And of course, Justice League 2017, the Zack Snyder Justice League. He played the character. Hmm. It says it's gonna be logo in the new Supergirl movie and a future Street Fighter movie. Okay. And of course, he did an uncredited cameo in The Flash at the end of the film. Patrick Wilson as Orm, Ocean Master. Arthur's Atlantean half brother and a former king of Atlantis who's stripped of his title as Ocean Master. Oh, things with Aquaman, he's half Atlantean, half human, king of Atlantis, who can swim at supersonic speeds and summon and command aqua life, fish. Patrick Wilson, I remember seeing him in the movie Lakeview Terrace with Samuel L. Jackson and Kerry Washington. He was good in that. I think he was in the Conjuring films. He was a villain in the A-Team movie, Watchmen 2009. He was Owlman, I think. Is that Owlman? Let's see. Night Owl, second. Yeah, he was really good in that. Yeah. Amber Heard as Mira. Amber. That movie, I think I've seen her in is Never Back Down. Yeah, but never really been a fan of her as an actress anyway. You would have up to then the second was David Kane. Lamanta, he's a ruthless pirate and a high season mercenary. Using a Atlantean armed suit, who has the power of a Black Trident, seeking to kill Arthur and his family as revenge for the death of his father in the first film. Let's see, this actor, I don't think I've seen him in any other movies. The Greatest Showman, Baywatch movie with the Rock. Candyman, yeah, he played Candyman, which I heard was not a good remake. Huh. I'm sure you can't be Tony Todd. Tony Todd, dude. And Randall Park as Dr. Stephen Shine. He's a marine biologist obsessed with finding Atlantis. So he did a good job. He did some comedies and stuff like that as well. and Dolph Lundgren as Nemesis, the King of Expo, and Ray's father. Now you probably know him, Dolph, from movies like Universal Soldier with Jean-Claude Van Damme, The Expendables 1 and 2. He's done some bit of action films. He worked with Marvel. He was the Punisher in the Punisher, Frank Castle in the Punisher in the 1989 film. The 1989 film. Great movie though. Love that film. He's good in that. I've seen Showdown Low Tokyo. I Come in Peace. I think those are good movies. Showdown Low Tokyo, late Brandon Lee. He was great in that. Yeah. He was a Master of the Universe. He's done a lot of action films as well. And he was in the TV show Arrow as well. Yeah. I think in season 5. Yeah. Of that show. And Tim Morrison as Thomas Curry, Arthur's father, who works as lighthouse keeper. I probably just basically remember him as Jango Fett in Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. Even if you hate that film, well, I still think it's been a sequel trilogy. But anyway, he's great as Jango Fett. I mean, you know, the bounty hunter. And I did come back in the second season of Mandalorian and spin out the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah. And he did have a cameo in The Flash, and he was in the first Aquaman film. He voiced the father of Mona and Mona. And he was in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Let's see, he was in Revenge of the Sith, Commander Kobe. Yeah. Martin Short is the voice of Kingfish. Martin Short's, the movies like The Prince of Egypt, Father of the Bride, Santa Claus 3, Three Amigos, Captain Ron, which I like Captain Ron, he was good in that. Jungle to Jungle, thought he was good with that with Tim Allen. Yeah, Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, he's the voice for that in Treasure Planet as well. I think he voiced that that robot in the movie. Oh yeah, Cat. Wait a minute. Oh. Nicole Kidman is Atlantia, Arthur and Arm's mother, and the former Queen of Atlantis. Nicole Kidman. Now, she was in the first movie, of course. She was in Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise. And, of course, she's worked with DC way before these movies came out. Batman Forever, Dr. Chase Meridian, that's turned 30 this year, back in June. But I always like Nicole Kidman as an actress as well. I think she did a horror movie called, like, The Others. Yeah, I need to see that again. So I'm going to check that movie out someday again. Vincent Reagan as Atlantean. Let's see. John Ross Davis, sure don't sit, voiced the Bring King. Charles Davis, you probably know him for films like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Living Daylights, a James Bond film. Yeah, but great actor, Aladdin and the King of Thieves. He voiced Aladdin's father. Yeah, Kazim. The film was also uh, directed by James Wan. He directed some of the Saw movies. Well, the first one, Dead Silence, Death Sentence. So he directed Death Sentence I like that movie with the Kevin Bacon, and like Kelly Preston. Fury 7, yeah, which I was not big on. And Megan, I think Megan 3 or something like that, whatever you want to call it. Some horror movies as well. Being played by David Lewis Johnson Mordick, who Wrath of the Titans, Jared was not good. I didn't care for the first Class of Titans. I'm talking about the remake from 2010, not the original from 1981. No. Stories by James Wan, also David Leslie Goldrick and Jason Momoa. I'm sorry, he didn't produce the movie. He was one of the writers on it. Sorry. Peter Safran produces it. Safran. Produced films like Field 19. Was like Paul Walker. And Meet the Spartans, Flatliners, I guess a remake. Cinematography by Don Burgess. He's done cinematography films like Summer Camp Nightmare, The Night Stalker, More Money, Richie Rich, Forrest Gump, What Lies Beneath, Castaway, Spider-Man 2002, but Marvel superhero film. With Marvel. Yeah. The Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2, and the Pinocchio remake. The music's by Robert Greg Nelson. Let's see. He's done films like Prince of Egypt, The Road to El Dorado, King Arthur, Over the Edge, The Holiday, Click, starring Adam Sandler. You Don't Mess with the Zohan. Grown Ups Just Go With It, Zookeeper, Jack and Jill, That's My Boy, some Adam Sandler movies. Here Comes the Boom, Grown Ups 2, Blended, and some movies that Sandler's produced. He's done musical scores too. Murder Mystery 2, and does music for some TV shows as well, like Catch 22, William and Mary. Production company's film was a DC Films, Automatic Monster, The Saving Company, distributed by Warner Brothers. It was released December 22nd, 2023. This is West Miles 2023 review because December is the last month of every year. The budget is estimated to be around $205 to $215 million. Box office made $440.2 million worldwide. So it did make money, but I wouldn't, it surpasses the budget. Yeah, alright. So let me tell about the plot synopsis. The film is also, let's see, 124 minutes long. Of running time, about 2 hours. 2 hours and 4 minutes, so it's not that long. Yeah. And don't talk about the plot synopsis, don't talk about the movie itself. Give my final opinion on it. So if you've never seen Aquaman Lost Kingdom, I'm going to just warn you this 2 times, but the first warning is if you've never seen the first Aquaman movie or Aquaman Lost Kingdom, the sequel, do not watch this review. So don't spoil it for yourself unless you have HBO Max or Max or whatever. It's on Aquaman movies are on there if you want to watch them. But anyway, the plot synopsis or the story of the movies about the sequel this time around. W after the first movie, Arthur is now king of Atlantis, but pretty much takes place after failing to defeat Aquaman the first time. David Kane, aka Black Manta, wields the power of this mystic black trident, to unleash an ancient and mystical force, hoping to end his reign of terror. But with this force, he can destroy the world, destroy not just Atlantis, destroy the sea, but destroy the surface world as well. So Arthur, having no choice, has to break his brother out of a prison that is Orm, aka the Ocean Master, who last time tried to start a war in the surface world, and he had to stop his brother, and that's how he became king. So he had to team up with not just his brother, but an old enemy as well, the former king of Atlantis. Setting aside their differences, they have to set aside their differences, team up, they have to work together, they have to join forces to protect their kingdom and save the world from verbal destruction. Meanwhile, Aquaman's becoming a father. He has a baby boy now. Him and her have a baby. He's dealing with the pressures of being a king, and he hates it. And he's trying to make maybe some peace with the surface world as well, all dealing with his family as well, and having to deal with that, learning to be a father, and learn to how to be, him and Orm had to work out being brothers and stuff. But that's the plot for you. They just have to save the world. It's every superhero cliche type thing. While figuring out what this lost kingdom is, and before this, there's a the king that's really dead, that's dead, and he's about to come and unleash destruction on the world, and they have to stop Black Manta and defeat this king, this evil king that was dead many years ago, many centuries ago. They have to defeat them and save the world. Yeah, besides their differences. But okay, that's the plot synopsis. So I'm gonna talk about the movie itself. Yeah, see, Aquaman has a little baby. Yeah, son, very cute. Oh, it did take 4 years. I think it said 4 years before. But I'm gonna talk about the movie itself. Then give my final thoughts on it. I might try to do two more reviews today if I can. If I can. But there would definitely be DC movies again. Yeah, but anyway, Aquaman Lost Kingdom. So again, if you've not seen this movie, don't watch this review. Turn the video over right now. You know, don't spoil it for yourself. So, other than that, just stay and watch the review. But basically, the film takes place 4 years, like I said, after we open up with Arthur getting a friend, getting a ride from one of the fit giant fish, a fish that he's getting a ride from. He's knocking some pirates down. He's beating some of them up. He's telling the story to his son, which I thought was hilarious. But he's king of Atlantis now. It's a new job for him, and of course he's got his Aquaman suit from the comics. And Arthur hates his job. He's got the Council of Atlantis, who he doesn't like, who doesn't agree with his decisions. Yeah, him and Mary got married. They have their cute little baby boy, of course, Arthur Jr. And the Council of Atlantis, they dismiss most of his ideas. That leaves him frustrated. He deals with pressure with raising his, with being king of Atlantis and being a father. And there's a little scene there where you see like the baby boy is like looking into a water tank of fish, and he's communicating with the fish. It was like Arthur Jr. has the baby. Arthur Jr. has the same abilities as his father, as Arthur. Arthur and Mary get absent, from Atlantean state affairs. Then we open up in Antarctica, which Dr. Stephen Shine, you know, doing tapes says, hopefully David Cage doesn't kill him. Now, he's only working with King because he found him in the first movie, but he's obsessed with finding Atlantis. It's like a dream of his to share it with the world. He's a scientist, and his obsession is to find Atlantis. He wants to find Atlantis, so that's why he's teamed up with David Kane. But he is scared of Kane as well, scared of David as well. Yeah, and when you see Black Manta, he's basically just obsessed with killing Aquaman. Only sets for our revenge. You know, I guess due to Stephen Shin's money and David's money as well, they're able to get a ship as well. They end up, Dr. Shine and this, one of the scientists, they fall in the snow or underneath this cave. The tentacle comes out, grabs the guy. Kane and them show up because he pushes a signal for them to get there. He's like, "What happened to you?" So they have to go underwater, and his armor was damaged, but he did fix it. His suit as well. Kane discovers, they're trying to see what they can find under this water. Something to do with Atlantis is what they're looking for. They encounter this mysterious creature, and Kane, discovers this broken black trident and grabs it. And it's his former king in there that says, "Help me, I will give you the power. I'll give you the ability to destroy, kill Aquaman and have your revenge for the man who killed your father." He just offers him revenge, and of course David accepts it. And he's going to make a deal with the devil, but it's an entity, freeing it from Frozen. Yeah. The world faces some climate changes, including many natural disasters. As Atlantis gets deadly plagues, and he talks to the Council of Atlantis, that they need to rule themselves to the world. We can make peace, but that's the Council, like, the leading lady, like, no, this is why we wanted your brother instead, and of course Arthur's going to do it eventually behind their backs, and some of them want to eradicate the surface as well, because a lot of them, like Orm, hate the surface world, and some of them actually want him to start a war up there. Yeah. But meanwhile, though, Kane's army, who has the tech, Atlantean tech, sorry, they steal this Orklum. It's a powerful but dangerous resource. But they steal it. It's a big gun, basically. David tells them, good job. And Dr. Shine says, well, I'd rather just not be here. He's like, okay, doctor, you want to quit? Go out there in the jungle. You want to try? He's like, no, I'll stick around. That's what I thought. He is scared of him. But Kane won't kill him. I think Kane basically needs him to get to Atlantis as well. and of how genius he is as well, being a brilliant scientist. Yeah, but they have this weapon, and they get on. David Shine doesn't want to shoot it. He sees, when Doctor Shine sees the line, he's like, "Oh, so beautiful," and he doesn't want to shoot the weapon, but this weapon it like will hurt their ears. It'll like weaken them very badly, weaken and nearly kill them. Yeah, and they're in their ships or whatever, their tanks, and Mira and Atlante attack. Atlante gets injured from it. Mira, uses her war powers to attack, Black Manta, but he puts his mask on. He shoots his weapon, the weapon that comes out of his eyes. The beams that come out of his eyes, of his mask, and he kills her. And he's about to, going to kill Aquaman. So he's like, "Leave my wife alone." Aquaman says, "Oh, Aquaman, your wife? Oh man, you put your brother in prison and you take his wife? That's really messed up, man." And they fight for a bit, but there's an entire army coming. It does sound like, "Dave, we gotta get out of here." And he knows it hurts, you know, Aquaman tries to chase after him, but they use the weapon on him. You know, you know, Aquaman, Arthur talks to his mother and Dolph Lundgren, who plays King Necros in the movie, uh, former king of part of Atlantis or whatever. Anyway, they talk about what they're going to do. That King's got these weapons. He could this Orclum. Can't say the name, but they're like weapons that can destroy the world, basically, cause a lot of damage. And he's like, "There's only one person who knows King's best, and he could just team up with his brother." He's like, yeah. They discover that his plans to raise the planet's temperature and release the lost kingdom of Necros, which has a dark history as well. So he has to go to this prison, break his brother out of it. Yeah. Well, he has to break, he has the Topo, which I thought Topo was funny when he squirted water on him. There were some scenes though where the baby, like, I forgot to mention, where he pees in Arthur's face, which I thought was funny. But they go to this, you know, they explain it. But Wondering gives him like this suit, which you saw the trailer, like that blue skin suit. He can turn invisible with it. You know, he's able to turn invisible, fight these creatures. I forget what it's called. Damn you, Wikipedia. Oh, well, I guess it's like these sand monsters, basically. I don't know what you want to call them, but they look pretty creepy. Yeah, and they keep them alive by giving them half water. They can't give them too much water. So Arthur shows up. It's like, "Hey, little brother." It's like, "Don't call me brother." It's like, "Come on, Masita then?" I still not making fun of him. It's like, "Come on, Castaway. You and Wilson need to come on." Because you have a long beard. Eventually, Norm gets into the power, gets his abilities back because he lands on, gets close to the ocean. The water pulls up, and he fights them off. They got these chasing monsters, though. Him and Arthur escape into it. They're fighting in the sand. Yeah, he's able to shave off his mustache and stuff, get his beard off, and Arthur talks to Orm about the troubles of being a king. He's like, "Well, if it's too much trouble to be king, I'll definitely do it." And they said that they go to these parts like, I have bad. I'm not very good with pirates. I know they go to this king that's this king or whatever that's voiced by Martin Short, and he's not gonna tell them, so they try to attack them, so they fight them back. Arthur's able to go like this tank and put on this giant fish's head that's voiced by Martin Short, and he asks them, he asks them where they should go. Mm, mm. Oh, kingfish. But they learn to, he says, "Okay, David Mansa's in this island, there's a volcano called the Devil's Deep," so that's where they head. They swim there, of course. being Atlanteans, they swim really fast. They get there, and Arthur, sends Topo back to Atlantis to get for help. And they're talking. He's like, brother, you never ate a cheeseburger. He's like, I don't. He's prejudiced against so he doesn't like these foods like cheeseburger, fries. He don't like any of that. And then he's like this, and he gets him to eat a cockroach, which is disgusting, but also funny at the same time. But Norm's like, good. He puts the whole cockroach in his mouth. They get chased by these creatures, giant bugs that are eating like giant rats. They get chased, but then you got these plants like nature, so they learn plants and stuff. So they would get away. Arthur like flips into the wall, which he gets her, but it breaks his statue down, and they're able to get away. They get into the volcano island. They sneak in there, knock some of Mantis's men out, and this lady that is like I guess his captain or whatever. He tries to attack him, and Norm she nearly gets close to killing Norm and Aquaman, but they attack back and they beat them. But this lady, she uses like they use like the laser weapons on them, which is burn them up real bad. There's a big good action scene going on. Yeah, like Mantis shows up in his suit, and again, remember the Nicholas King that wants to come back to life gave him power, so he can just wear his normal suit normally, and he'll be all right. Later on was like, no, he's weak. We can get him. And Orm tries to go to attack him, and then he punches Orm. And then he kills Orm by using his beams at him. Also, during the fight, Orm touches the Black Trident, which he sees everything and gives him all this knowledge about it. Anyway, him and Aquaman fight. Aquaman is able to take him down for the time being. Black Manta, I mean. Orm then learns that the Trident was created by Cortex, who was the brother of King Lantern and the ruler of the Lost Kingdom in Negris. They had disagreements. He imprisoned him with blood magic. Well, he used black magic to rule his kingdom, became like the devil almost, and failed attempts to usurp the throne. Him and his brother were trapped in ice, where his brother Atlantean put him there for many turns, so that his brother King Lantern, who became the monster, tries to destroy the world, in the surface and stuff. And they realize the blood of any Atlanteans that means they said, wait, but he means that he needs Arthur's, Atlanteans, Nicole Kidman's, I mean, or Patrick Wilson's, like, not just me. And Black Manta, knowing this information, of course, because he's touched the trident, so he knows all about what it needs. The information, he stabs Thomas Curry, Arthur's father, on land, you know, kidnaps the baby, burns down the house, and pisses Arthur off. He kill him right after him. So Amanda kidnaps him with Shin's help. Cortex later does talk, not Cortex, but Dr. Shin talk to, Aquaman. Well, I forgot to mention, though, there's also a scene where Dr. Shin sees what he's playing, he touches it, like, he gets the knowledge of it too. And he's like, you better keep your mouth shut. I tell you what I'm planning to kill Aquaman and his whole family, and I'm burn his kingdom down the ground. And that's what I'm going to do. If I have to make a deal with the devil, do it. Like, don't make me stab you with this knife. And he's scared of him because he knows David will kill him. Because first when he got the black trident, he was like, snap his knife around. But David's Kane is insane as well, and a murderer to that as well. But he tries to get Aquaman to like, knock him out. Arthur doesn't believe him. Like, no. And they listen to him. You know, and of course they decide to go in there. They're going to open up the trident, open it for Necros to come out, and they get the baby as well because they need the baby's blood, Arthur Jr.'s blood. Mira was taken out most of the movie. Remember, she got injured real bad. Again, the whole Amber Comfort surgery. They should just get. I guess because maybe she was had a contract to do this movie. I'm thinking that's why maybe, or they just didn't want to listen. I don't know. There's so much tension set between all of them. Like she's got another actress, and pretty much her. And I would say they don't even have chemistry, but I'll get to all that later. Yeah, but Dolph Lundgren doesn't trust him. The craft giant craft character that's worked at John Ray Davis is like he doesn't like him much. He doesn't give him weapons. Later, Dolph Lundgren's character, Necros is is about to die, and he's like Patrick Wilson smiles and leave him, but he kills the creature that attacks him, saves him, and he gives him a gun and trusting him. Norm has changed. Norm has changed. Yeah, yeah. Arthur confronts Manta, who first of all, Manta's gonna opens his bag, which he thinks has a baby in it, but Dr. Shin betrays him, and he's like attacks him. He's about to kill him, but Aquaman shows up to fight him. Him and Aquaman have a showdown, pretty good fight. He nearly gets killed because using his have that powers as well. He almost stabs him, but Mary uses her powers on him, weakening him and destroying his mask. And she tries to take, she grabs her son, turn away. He's gonna go like trident. Amber Heard's face is so stupid and funny. She's like, "Oh." But Earl grabs it, and it's like it possesses him to kill his brother, but he's able to talk him out of it. Arthur is, before man that tries to throw a punch at Aquaman like pushes him back, which I thought was funny. And by this time, he's tired and knocked out. Black Manta is. They destroy the Black Trident. The Codex magic vanishes. Niggura starts to collapse though. Uh, but King Niggura tries to come out, but Arthur is able to defeat him using his trident. Black Manta almost deadly. Like Arthur, despite all he's done, trying to kill his son, trying to kill his wife, all that he's done, him reaches his hand up to him like, "I'll help you up," you know. But says like never, and he decides to die instead. So Atlantis and shit and Dr. Shen get to safety, and and Mary gives him a kiss on the cheek. I'm talking about Dr. Shen's character for his help, and he says, for what he did, the 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 princess not gonna forgive him for that. That he escapes, let him go. He's like Arthur, you're not bad. You're pretty good at the job. Atlantis deserves a king like you. You do a great job. Just trust your instincts. Give it all with your heart. Be the king that they need you to be. You're a better king than I was. And then they let him take off for free, and that they're gonna tell him that he died in the condition that it's a big ocean out there, and they probably won't find his body. Arthur believes that unification of the underwater kingdom and the surfaces would necessarily prevent further damage to the oceans and planet. Arthur reveals Atlantis' existence, declaring his intentions of making the kingdom a member state. And they realize that he's trying to make peace. He's like, we can all have peace for each other. We can do this. He gives a great speech. He says, I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a king. I'm Aquaman. And then just he does that. I can't do it, but he does. But and then that's the end of the film. All right. Well, that's Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. Let me give my final thoughts on this quick, y'all. Yeah. I'll be done with this review. I know we're in 49 minutes in. I'm about to be done. 48 seconds in, but I'm about to be done here. But I do enjoy the sequel. I do think it's before I get to my problems. I do like the film's story. I do think it is an interesting story about the Lost Kingdom. Um, I thought Aquaman had a cute baby in the film. Son was cute. I thought Black Manta was a great villain. He's one of DC's best villains in my opinion. The actor who plays him, I can't say his name right, but he does good. The cast is good, except for Amber Heard. But I do love Nicole Kidman here for her time in this movie. She does good. The rest of the cast is really good as well. Yeah, I think James Wan did a great job directing. I think the writing and story is really good as well. Yeah, cinematography is nice. I love the way the film looks. The visual effects, underwater scenes are very beautiful, and the humor doesn't work all the time. Oh, I forgot to mention at the end, Orm does try a cheeseburger. He sees a cockroach, grabs the cockroach, puts it in the burger, and eats it. I know what you're thinking, yeah, but I thought that was funny. Yeah, but it's not like I'm watching a human centipede film or something like that. But anyway, the ending is good. The action, when the action is there, is good. I think Jason Momoa as Aquaman does a fantastic job. Patrick Wilson does a good job too as Orm. Yobola Matsu the second does a good job. Dolph Lundgren does good. Martin Short, so Nicole Kidman, they all do good. And Thomas Mirren, I forget Thomas Morrison. I'm sorry. Yeah, the music score is good too. I actually like the music score for Aquaman Lost Kingdom. I think the music score is pretty solid. And for the running time, it is 2 hours and 4 minutes, but the running time it went by at a pretty good pace, I thought. And it was entertaining. Now let me get to my problems. Problem number one, I don't like Amber Heard in this film. I can't stand her. Her and Arthur, there's no chemistry there. In the first movie, I never really saw any chemistry between them at all, and it's hostile between them. So yeah, either that woman's got something wrong with her. I think she does. For all her, I think she was really, in my opinion, I think she was the abuser. I'm not. I'm sure Johnny Depp has some of his issues too, but I think it was just a toxic relationship that should have never happened. Anyway, just getting back to the movie. It's fine to me like Amber Heard. At least she's not in the movie a whole lot. Thank goodness. And her acting is just not very good either. And I wish we would explore the Lost Kingdom a bit more. Yeah, I mean, of course, the film's touch, but it's more about. I do like what I like about the film that it's their brother relationship. It does remind me. He does call him Loki one time in the film. The moments with Orm and Arthur becoming brothers and him forgiving Arthur and being not to hate him anymore, and they become like brothers, good brothers by the end. That they do care for each other, you know, as brothers, yeah. And I like that they played that with the sequel. Again, I probably do like the first movie better, but that's not because of Amber Heard or anything. But the first movie I thought had a real good story, despite the Amber Heard problem I have with it, her being in there. But we don't explore the Lost Kingdom story enough. I think we should explore that. They could explore more of that in the sequel a little bit, and also the big villain that they King Negrish. Yeah, he's supposed to be a big threat, but Aquaman and Orm, or Aquaman takes him out just like that. It feels like it's just 5 seconds he's taken out. So I'm like, okay, if you're gonna build this big villain at the end, I get it. Black Manta is the main villain of the movie, but if you're gonna have this bigger villain come in who could possess him, they don't do anything with him. Basically, we just get the backstory and that's it. We don't explore the Lost Kingdom enough to make it more of an interesting story. It feels like the film does rush that a bit for the story. Yeah, but overall, I do wish there was a bigger fight at the end. I mean, it was cool with Black Manta, but it didn't. It last maybe 15 seconds or 15 minutes at least. It didn't. I just felt like the ending, the climax was a bit weak too, especially since Niggers comes out. He's like a green kind of character, monster-looking devil, and they don't really fight. He just gets knocked out, like destroyed like that by Aquaman. I'm like, really? You have a bigger fight, like as I'm saying, he was like Conan Barron in the remake, which you saw by the way. But going on the Destroyer at the end of that movie, you had to. When I was sorry, I'm just going over. I'm off topic here. I just wanted to mention that movie, Andre the Giant plays that monster at the end. There's a really good fight there. You could have had a really good fight here too. Give him a bigger photo fight. That would have been awesome. But no, we don't get that. The ending just felt rushed. But I do like the baby boy. The little baby in here. The baby's cute. Yeah, and the moments with family is real good as well. Yeah, and the soundtrack, the songs. Born to Be Wild. There's a lot of the songs they put in here are Spirit in the Sky. Really good music as well. And I like the Topo character, the octopus character. That was pretty funny. Yeah, and that blue suit he wore that makes him invisible. That was really cool. A lot of good action scenes, visual effects, special effects, CGI is really good. I like the way the Atlanteans look, and the visual effects are always very beautiful to look at in these movies. Especially in the first one, the visual effects are very nice. Same here in the sequel. It is entertaining. Yes, it is a lot of CGI, visual effects. But again, this is 2023, so you're going to have a lot of that computers now. I thought it worked in the movie, but it's a very entertaining sequel. I just have those issues with it. But at least Amber Heard doesn't, is only in this movie about 20 minutes of screen time. She doesn't get a lot of screen time, thankfully. So we only see her a little bit of her in the beginning. She gets hurt. Then we don't see her to the climax, ending third act of the movie, which is fine with me. Nicole Kidman for her short time in the movie, so she was good. It's an entertaining movie. So my rating for Aquaman Lost Kingdom, I'm gonna rate this film. My rating for the film, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. My rating for this film is 4 to 5 stars. So guys, tell me in the comments down below what do you think of Aquaman Lost Kingdom. And again, I think the reason is because this movie didn't make a lot of money, and the critics hated it, and the film just did not get well received. It did make money, but I wouldn't say it was a huge box office hit either. On its $200 million budget, it only made 440.2 million dollars worldwide. So it did make money, but I wouldn't call it a huge successful hit. And I guess at the time, like I said, with Shazam failing, Black Adam, Shazam, uh, Blue Beetle, and The Flash all flopping, I think people were just getting tired of these DCU movies. You know, because a lot of them were flopping at the box office. A lot of them were not becoming, and some of them were not being big hits like Marvel, like MCU type stuff. Because a lot of the Avengers movies, all the Avengers movies, four of them, to the first one, to Age of Ultron, to Infinity War and Endgame, all those made billions of dollars. These did not. A lot of these films did not make big monies, big numbers at the box office. So that's probably why. And maybe people were just tired of it. Maybe they said, okay, we just need to recut the losses, and they let James Gunn take over, and that's why we have it now. But anyway, guys, that's my opinion on Lost Kingdom. Solid sequel, despite the issues I have with it. It's still entertaining enough. I still like the first one better though, but it's a good, solid, entertaining sequel. But it's not perfect. It's not a great movie. Like when I first saw it, I was just like, meh. But it grew on me. I like it. But I think I see why critics are mixed on it. The story is not all that strong, but it is a good story, solid. But that's all I can say about Aquaman Lost Kingdom. So guys, tell me in the comments down below. Have you seen Aquaman Lost Kingdom? What do you think of it in your opinion? Let me know your opinion on this film. Do you prefer the first movie to be better? What do you think of Amber Heard? I'm just curious. And how would you rank the DCU movies? And have you seen the new Superman film? Are you excited that they're doing more DCU films? That James Gunn's involved? Since he did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, do you want to see more of those movies? And do you think Jason Momoa will be a great Lobo? I think he will. Tell me in the comments down below, guys, what you think of the sequel. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, and the next review will be DC animated movie. It'll be from 2022. Yeah, and then after that, we will be getting to the year 2024. I promise. Yeah, but I didn't get to review this movie because this came out in February. Yeah, this came out in the year 2022. It is the 49th film in the DC Universe original movies. That of course is Catwoman Hunted. So Catwoman Hunted, that'll be next. So stay tuned for this review. Catwoman Hunted. And again, it was 2022. Yes, I know what y'all were thinking, but I'm sorry. At the time, I couldn't review it. But anyway, I'll get more on that later. Let me know what you think of Welcome Lost Kingdom down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. See you in the next one. Bye bye.